I feel a bit out of my depth here in comparison to everyone else, but thank you for inviting me. So a bit on me and the Arab British Centre. So as Gabriel explained, I actually started in the commercial art world, the evil commercial art world, and I started with Sotheby's at the start of the Arab and Marine art market, left them about 4 years later to work in a gallery, and then I decided actually I wanted to work for a charity, which is where I am now. But my focus has always been on contemporary Arab art specifically, because speaking of identity and memory and everything that this exhibition and these conferences have to do with, my parents are both Lebanese, though my mum is half Syrian and my father is a quarter Iranian. So I'm a very typical Arab mutt, of a mixture of everything. They experienced 5 years of the Civil War before coming to London, and then I was obviously born and raised here, as you can tell from my accent. Growing up in South London, specifically, where it's very cosmopolitan, you do battle with this question of, am I British or am I Lebanese? My home life was very Arab, obviously, but then my school life and my friends and my thought processes developing as a child were very, very English. And so, if I'm honest, I wasn't really in tune with my Arabness until much, much later, probably about 16 or 17, when I started to ask more questions about where my parents came from. I started to know more about what happened in Lebanon, which you don't get taught that in English schools either, so you have no idea what had happened in the Middle East. And that's when it sort of inspired me to study more. And actually that's why I got involved with the Arab British Centre. Although I've only been working with them for a year, I've been part of the charity since 2010, because it's a great organisation. At the end of the day, it's all about promoting Arab culture to the British public, but moving away from politics and religion. So rather than focusing on what is represented in the media, which is not always positive, they do tend to focus on the richness of the culture, regardless of whether it's food, like the hummus that you have at the back over there, or Lebanese wine, or art and film and music. So it's a great place to be in terms of wanting to move away from those stereotypes, which again is what we're discussing today. Part of what I wanted to talk to today is, and actually as part of the discussion that I think could be quite interesting, is how institutions can be flawed. And the ABC, I'll put my hand up, is one of them, because we are the Arab British Centre and we look after the Arab world, and that doesn't include minorities like the Kurds or Armenians, because the Arab world, as deemed by the Arab League, is the Arabic-speaking countries. So we, in ourselves, are focused on a region that has its own limitations and boundaries in itself, which we are fully aware of, and we work around that. There's plenty to do, but it's a limitation that I think all institutions can suffer from, regardless of whether it's the V&A, the British Museum, commercial galleries, or charities like the Arab British Centre. Because I do come from a commercial art background, I am more interested in how the public see foreign art, exotic art, oriental art, and examine why certain labels are put onto certain artists or art forms. And one of the things that I thought was quite interesting from this exhibition, from reading the catalogue and from seeing the talks that you had today, was the term Ottoman, because of course for the general public, Ottoman is associated to Turkey, and you ask people about Ottoman history and they just assume it's about Constantinople and what is now Istanbul. And I think that the language used, regardless of whether it's Ottoman or not, can be very problematic, because it automatically creates this barrier for people. And we've seen that at the Arab British Centre, because of course we are trying to promote non-religious, non-political events and exhibitions and dance troupes and you name it, they're all there. But at the end of the day, those that don't know a lot about the Arab world or anything about the Arab world, first of all, are less likely to come to us, and come to our events. And secondly, already have those stereotypes in their brains. They're wired to think that way. That actually, I had that when I was growing up. I would say I was Lebanese, and they would say, "So you're Muslim," which obviously, as I'm sure you know, Leslie, it's completely untrue. Actually, my mother is Christian and my father is Muslim, but in the eyes of the general public, if you're an Arab, you are a Muslim. These are the sorts of things that we're trying to step away from and get people to think outside the Muslim box that everyone has placed the Arab world in. I have a million other things that I can say, but I think it's better to leave it for the discussion. That's it.
Thank you very much.